What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the 143.
Episode 3.
Under review, Joseph Penn, Nick Jarvis.
What's up? We are back at it again.
Back at it for week number 3. And what a weekend again of football.
'Twas another entertaining week of football.
'Twas indeed. Well, let's start with the stat of the week, like we normally do every week. And this stat is brought to you by the Bull Club Podcast.
Indeed.
You can find them anywhere you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Music. And their Instagram is Bull Club Podcast. Sean, Jackson, and Bonner do a great job of bringing you up to speed on everything going on in the world. Things that you probably didn't even know about, but are very hot topics in today's society. Mm-hmm. Just like we are your sports experts.
They're the everything else experts.
They are your experts on everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to their Instagram, you can see the new line of merch that they are creating. It's pretty sick. Their logo is pretty sick and pretty cool. So look them up. Give them a follow.
You know they're valid because they're being recommended by two highly great sources.
That's true.
Me and Joseph.
Go look them up. Go give them a listen. They're very entertaining and they are very well informed on the things that they talk about. Conspiracy theories,
yes,
metaverse, things like that. Just go look them up.
A lot of cool stuff I didn't really know about.
Hey, you don't have to take our word for it. You can go listen to them yourself.
Absolutely.
Anyways, this stat this week is about Patrick Mahomes. It took Patrick Mahomes 13 seconds to come back against the Bills. We all remember that game last week. People are saying it was one of the best games they've ever seen. Took him 13 seconds to drive down the field, kick a field goal to bring them into overtime where they won. This week, however, it took Patrick Mahomes exactly 13 seconds to choke away their trip to the Super Bowl.
Indeed.
Took him 13 seconds into overtime to throw a pick, which gave the Bengals possession, which led to the field goal and them winning the game and going to the Super Bowl.
Perfect McPherson, who is
Evan McMoney.
100% shooter.
Is he ever not 100%?
That is the question.
That is a good question, and the answer is
no.
No.
He is not.
So, Patrick Mahomes, we love you to death, but
that's what you get for throwing it into double coverage.
That's what you get. Yeah.
So
I don't have to go that far. I mean, he's Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
Okay. Well, that stat of the week is brought to you by the Bull Club Podcast.
Absolutely. And your player of the week, the Triple Crown winner this year.
Show him some respect.
Cooper Kupp.
Put some respect on his name.
Put some respect on that man's name. He is by far the greatest receiver this year, okay? And if you think anything different, you would in fact be wrong.
Or you can call us.
He had 11 receptions off of 14 targets. Had 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. The man popped off. I think that's what we were expecting.
Guys, this is a slot receiver,
from a man like this. He's been doing it all season long, so why not do it in the playoffs?
Led the league in everything. Why wouldn't he lead him to the Super Bowl?
And that's exactly what he did. He's going to be an absolute weapon for them in the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford has been utilizing him well, and I think that he's going to be a problem for Cincinnati in the Super Bowl.
Attaboy Cooper Kupp made it into the Player of the Week here at Under Review. You should feel honored.
Yes, sir. He should feel very honored.
Satisfied, and you know whether you do anything.
He may have won the Triple Crown this year, but I just want him to know that Player of the Week means a ton more.
It does.
Than that.
It does, and he should feel special because he is.
Yes.
So we'll come back to Cooper Kupp in a little bit, but let's go back to the Bengals and the Chiefs.
The Bengals versus the Chiefs.
So I guess it needs to be said, needs to be talked about now that Nicholas and I, there was some banter going on last week.
There was, indeed.
About who would win, and Nicholas.
Who was right? Who was right? That would be me. I was right.
And Nicholas projected, you didn't even let me finish. I was about to give you credit, but now you're just over there being selfish and flaunting yourself that I'm not even sure I really want to anymore. But Nicholas...
It's not change the fact that I was right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do have to live with this man. Let me say, it is very difficult sometimes, just like it is right now.
Well, I mean, it's also difficult being right all the time because, it's just difficult.
I can't imagine. Anyways, Nicholas projected that the Bengals would win by a field goal, and
it's
they
just
in fact
hard being
did
the best at everything.
Win by a field. Dude, I'm trying to give you your props right now, and you're just talking over me. So
hey, I'm just giving.
You know what? Let's talk about the game. So the Chiefs. It was almost like watching two.
Okay. I'm just asking. out of curiosity.
It's actually really
just for everyone
annoying
else,
right now. Actually, is what it feels like. Annoying, just pure annoyance, just flowing out of me right now. Anyways,
back to the game.
It was almost like watching two different games, wouldn't you say?
I would agree. The first half was way different than the second half. I feel like the first half, the Bengals could not do anything against the Chiefs offensively or defensively. Patrick Mahomes was having his way with the Bengals defense, and then
it looked like they were going to run away with the game.
Yeah, and then the second half was the complete opposite. Like, the Bengals couldn't be stopped. Their defense, found the poison for Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs only got 3 points in the second half, and that came in the final seconds of the game.
So they almost
just barely to tie
in the
it.
second half.
Yeah.
But nevertheless,
came
into a very similar scenario for last week against the Bills.
Yes.
Kicked a field goal in the last seconds of the game, tied it up.
Send it to overtime.
They won the coin toss again.
So they have nothing to complain about.
Because
they got the ball first.
Exactly
like every Chiefs fan wants.
And then Patrick Mahomes decides that he needs to throw a 50-yard pass to Tyreek Hill.
Into double coverage.
And it was a good throw. But it was into double coverage. I mean, like, it hit him it went, to his hands. It was a good throw, but into double coverage, so Bates knocks it free and hits it into his guy, gets interception. Bengals storm down the field.
Basically just get to march down the field.
Evan McMoney, or Shooter, as they like to call him.
Shooter, as they call him in the Bengals locker room.
Kicked the game-winning field goal. Honestly, I feel like he's used to it by now. His numbers called, at the end of a big game, and he's like, I guess I got to go kick another game-winning field goal.
I heard Joe Burrow talking about last week against the Titans, and he was saying, like, right before he walked out, he looked at Joe Burrow, and he was like, well, I guess we're going to the AFC Championship.
I guess this week he looked at Joe Burrow, and he was like,
I guess we're going to the Super Bowl.
And
he was right again.
He was right. And, guys, he's a rookie.
100%.
He's a rookie.
I just think it's cool because the Bengals organization was getting roasted at the beginning of the season because they drafted a kicker. Well, turns out okay for everybody.
Nobody's roasting them now. So it was a crazy game, though.
Also, Joe Burrow has the chance to make history as he could be the first player in history to win a college football national championship, the Heisman, and the Super Bowl.
Really?
No player in history.
None of the Heisman winners have won a national championship and a
that
Super Bowl?
Heisman curse is real.
The Heisman curse is real, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at Johnny Manziel.
Absolutely.
Enough said about that.
Another player I think worth pointing out who has been a menace all season.
Give it to me.
T. Higgins.
Popped
off with 103 yards. The unsung hero.
The Bengals wide receiver core is crazy because when you double one of them, like the Chiefs doubled Jamar Chase, the Chiefs did a good job of holding down Jamar Chase.
You have to.
But T. Higgins, single covered, is like the same. He's 6'5", huge build.
Yeah, they figured out
he'll always win the one-on-one.
How to pick apart the defense because obviously, like you said, they were double covering Jamar the entire time, and that leaves other guys vulnerable, mainly T. Higgins, and they were able to use him, and it was greatly successful for their team and a big part of their victory.
That's why the Bengals have been so successful this season is because they have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins,
they've been able to play the defense as well.
And Joe Burrow. Yeah, Joe Burrow can read the coverages so well that when he sees one of his guys being doubled, he knows that leaves one of them single covered, and he just targets that guy for pretty much the whole game. That's why T. Higgins has had a 200-yard game. Jamar Chase has had a 200-yard game.
Right, because then after
he finds
you're worried about Jamar the whole time, he doesn't get any catches, and then T. Higgins starts popping off, and then you're like, dang, well, I got to worry about this guy now, and then that could, if you overcover T. Higgins, then you could possibly have to worry about Jamar Chase again.
Or Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, who knows?
String, who is also a weapon.
Yeah.
So the Bengals definitely did a great job in the second half of utilizing their weapons.
Absolutely.
Their offense
finally got going.
Joe Mixon, I don't think that he's really all that in a bag of chips.
I thought he did pretty well in the second half.
He's okay, but he's not. It's a good thing they have a really good passing game. I don't think that they can depend. It might just be their offensive line, but they can't really depend on their running game.
Joe Mixon is by no means a workhorse, but I think he's a decent back. I think he has some...
He's a good pass-catching back.
Good skills. I was about to say he's a good receiving back. I think he has the ability to get it done as a running back For sure.
It might just be the fact that their offensive line is terrible.
I was going to say that goes back to their running game to where there's no real holes there.
So a great game against the Chiefs, great game against the Titans, great game against the Raiders, but now you're about to come up against an NFC team whose defense is
their front four is insane. D-line.
Aaron Donald goes without saying, one of the best players on the planet right now. A lot of people are saying he's the best player of all time. I disagree.
Think that is whoever you can slap that person in the face if they say Aaron Donald is the best.
Well, they're saying he is the most fierce. He goes and gets like what he wants on the field. Like nobody can stop him. You double cover him, Aaron Donald gets through every time. And then you have Von Miller on the other side. Yeah. And Von Miller is the A&M product.
He's a stud.
An absolute stud. And
did good for the Broncos. Obviously, his talent was low-key being wasted at Denver, and so.
And then they have Floyd and Armstead.
Come here and get a Super Bowl.
They have so many guys up there.
Jalen Ramsey. They got him working in the secondary.
Yeah, the secondary. So that defense is scary, and they're not the Chiefs' defense, that's for sure. And they're not the Titans' defense. They really are a real NFC defense.
I don't think the Bengals have seen a defense that's even close to what the Rams can put out there on the field.
So we'll see how the Bengals do.
Obviously, the Bengals deserve to be there.
And also, they'll get overpowered. Joe Burrow could make history in the fact that the Bengals have not won a Super Bowl
in franchise
history and NFL history. So this would be their first Super Bowl win.
Could be a huge.
And Cincinnati already gave their students, the day off.
The Monday after the Super
Bowl. So I would hate for them to have that day off so they can cry about losing in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. We hope, because we care about the people of Cincinnati, that they get that day off to celebrate. To celebrate their win of the Super Bowl.
Just out of the consideration of our hearts.
And the fact that we want the Bengals to win the Super Bowl as well.
Because I don't think anyone outside of the Rams fan base is rooting for the Rams. No. I think everyone else is
This is a Cinderella story. We don't see this very often.
I'm certainly not rooting for the Rams. I know you're certainly not rooting for the Rams.
I'm definitely not rooting for the
Rams.
One
big reason is
Odell Beckham Jr.
I hate Odell, and he's on the Rams.
Yes.
I do not want to see him get a ring.
Guys, if you just make one good catch in your lifetime, that does not qualify you to be a top 5 receiver. He's not a top 5 receiver.
I would agree.
Okay? So
congrats, you caught it over the Cowboys secondary, who's absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. I bet you I could do that.
You probably could.
I could do that.
You could do that.
Nothing special.
Probably catch it with your feet, for being honest.
Honestly, I could catch it with my mouth.
But I think that brings us into our next segment, talking about the second game on Sunday, the Niners and the Rams.
Niners.
A very, very many people thought this was going to be a defensive game, and I think that it was, for the most part, a pretty defensive game. A low-scoring game, 17-20.
I'd say it was a little less entertaining.
It was a little less entertaining.
Chiefs-Bengals game.
But I think me and you both agree on this. The better team won the game.
Yes, absolutely.
And
the Niners were given opportunity after opportunity to win this game, and they just did not come through.
Let's just talk about who they beat. They beat the Cowboys. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cowboys played terribly in the game against the 49ers. And the Cowboys were in no way, shape, or form
Jimmy G got through the Cowboys and the Packers, and in those games, he threw for a combined 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Yeah, so
if that's not luck, I don't know what is.
It was pretty fortunate, and we're definitely happy that he beat the Packers and sent them home.
Absolutely.
But I think most people definitely had the Rams winning this game.
Yes.
Even though Niners fans, it was said that there were 70% Niners fans in the Rams building.
I know, it was
that was crazy.
Once again, it was like another Niners home game.
And this time it didn't help him.
I will say this, though. Kyle Shanahan may own Sean McVay, but Sean McVay won the game that mattered.
He did.
He
did.
Good job, Sean McVay.
So
getting it done in the NFC.
I think Matt Stafford played really, really well. I think, obviously, our player of the week, Cooper Kupp, is a big reason.
Huge part of that, right? Jimmy G threw a costly interception to end the game. The very end there.
But Aaron Donald was bringing him to the ground. He just threw the ball.
Also, we got to talk about him. Jaquiski Tart. If you don't know who that is, that was the safety at the end of the game.
Not a lot of people knew who he was before the game, but now a lot of people know
I will tell you this.
Now.
All San Francisco fans certainly know who this guy is.
And they want him gone.
He was the man who dropped the possible game-sealing pick for the 49ers. So he can feel bad about himself. he had the game in his hands, quite literally. I mean, the ball was right there.
I have never seen
It's not like it was a contested catch. I mean, it was right into the basket. It was a lob. I mean,
I have never seen a ball more thrown to an opposing player than that pass that Matthew Stafford
it was
threw
like
right to target.
10 yards underthrown, straight to him. He was in the right place at the right time.
It hit him in the chest and the hands.
Right in the hands and the chest, and he dropped it. Just was like...
They were up by 3. They could have run the
it?
Clock down at that point, maybe tacked on some more points.
Exactly.
Instead, they dropped the ball, and then Matthew Stafford led them down the field. Their Pro Bowl kicker kicks a tying field goal, and then later on kicks the field goal that put them ahead, and then they won the game. So a lot of it can be pointed back to that missed interception.
So once again,
I know a lot of Niners fans are definitely pointing back to that missed interception.
Nobody knew his name before, but they certainly know his name now.
They definitely do now. But Nick, I actually have a question for you. I have a question for you now.
Yes,
so
sir.
The biggest reason that the Rams have been contenders, or they are contenders, and the reason they won that game, I do have to ask you because there's a lot of debate going on here.
Yeah.
Would you give credit more to Matthew Stafford or the Rams defense?
Oh, Rams defense.
Really?
For sure.
Okay. Explain.
I don't think Matthew Stafford is awful. I mean, he's okay. I think I see a little bit of Detroit Lions come out of him every now and then, especially on that last play that we were talking about, that dropped pick. But like I said, he's certainly not a terrible quarterback, but
he's a seasoned veteran.
He's not
he's good.
He's been to the playoffs before, so he kind of knows what it feels
Definitely
like.
Has never
he's been around, for sure not. He's been around the league for a while, so I feel like he has a lot of good experience.
He was a huge upgrade from Jared Goff.
But I do think that their defense is what makes them better. I mean, we were already talking about it. Their defense is
defensive
scary. Line
They're scary.
I mean, that's just unreal to me.
Right now, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but they retired Tom Brady.
They have the best pass rusher in the game.
Aaron Donald. Hands down. Obviously, Michael Parsons will be there at some point.
Yes. They have a top 5, some would even say top 3 corner, Jalen Ramsey, back there. And they have a seasoned veteran, Von Miller. Yes, his talent, like I said,
the A&M product.
Wasted in Denver, but he finally managed to get on a good team. And they have plenty of offensive weapons for Matthew Stafford to throw to. Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson. I'm not going to say Odell because I don't like him. And then Cam Akers is pretty good, pretty lethal.
I think
they had Tyler
what
Higbee.
I think, their defense is good. But the Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford connection, and obviously you can give a lot of credit to Cooper Kupp for just being a really good receiver. But that connection is real. Because, people know by now, if Matthew Stafford gets in trouble under pressure, he's going to Cooper Kupp.
Chunks it to Cooper Kupp. Because Cooper Kupp,
but he's always
also
open.
The other thing is, I was going to say, Cooper Kupp is open almost every single time.
He's an amazing route runner. So, I would agree with you that the Rams defense, you can look at their offense and you're like, well, I'm not really that scared of them. They're good. But people are scared of the Rams defense, and it's because of their front four.
Absolutely.
Their secondary is good. But
the quarterback is constantly getting pressure.
Tom Brady had less than 2 seconds to throw last week.
And I feel like that's going to be the same story because the Bengals are
Joe Burrow's used to it. And
he's shifty in the backfield. He's saw it
in the backfield
against the Chiefs,
He's quick.
He slipped out 3 or 4 times.
But like we said, the Rams defense is not the Chiefs defense. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think they played in the regular season.
No.
And so
obviously they're going to have to. Cincinnati's going to have to prepare for that. That defensive front. They're going to have to set up some plays that'll help out.
Yeah.
I guess just pick apart that defense, but I'm also choosing the Bengals to win this. I'm a huge Joe Burrow fan. I like him a lot.
Joe Burrow has proven everyone wrong. I think Joe Burrow
just aura around him, this confidence level.
Yes.
Whenever
talk about this quote.
Interviewer was like, "Is that chain real?" And he was like, "I'm making too much money to be buying fake chains, so yeah, it's real." And I was like, "That man is a beast, right there."
Man's a legend.
What a baller! Stinking baller.
It's just like we said. The Bengals is a better story. LA,
it'd be cool.
LA, what they did this season is they went out and got the most star-studded team that they could. The Bengals,
sorry NBA team.
Guys, the Bengals drafted these guys.
Yeah.
Like, they built this team in the draft. And the Rams just went out and they bought a bunch of players because they're LA and they have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, obviously, like, we like some of the players on the Rams team, but I want the Bengals to win this game. Mm-hmm. And I also don't know the next time that Cincinnati will be back.
Well, it's cool because they had, their first playoff win in, 31 years. Took them all the way to the Super Bowl, so.
It's crazy.
I don't think they'll be back here for a while, for sure.
Agreed.
But.
It's going to be an awesome Super Bowl. We'll preview it more next week as well, right before.
Because we got 2 weeks.
Got a couple weeks. So you want to hear more Super Bowl talk, definitely tune in next week.
We'll tune in next week.
We are going to shift gears now to some breaking news that broke this morning. A lot of people thought it broke earlier, but it broke this morning because Tom Brady posted on his Instagram that he is officially...
I feel like we have to clarify. We're recording on Tuesday. So
yes, this is Tuesday.
This morning would be Tuesday, but you're hearing it Wednesday morning. So when we say this morning, we're talking about Tuesday morning.
Good catch, Nick. Good catch.
Hey. That's what I'm here for.
Tom Brady posted on Instagram that he's officially retiring from football. Came as a shocker to a lot of people. Just the fact that he's retiring after this season, because you kind of thought when he lost that game against the Rams that he would be back.
He said he wanted to play till he was 45, which would have been next year.
He turns 45 in
but
August.
I guess he doesn't want to do that anymore.
But
it's up to him, obviously.
Let's just briefly talk about some of the things.
The GOAT.
We'll definitely be talking about him in future episodes.
The undisputed GOAT.
Undisputed GOAT. There's no one better than Tom Brady.
I don't think
who has
there's
played the game
any
of football.
debate on who the GOAT actually
is. The most dominant quarterback that we have ever seen.
And the most decorated quarterback, with awards. I mean,
exactly.
First in passing yards, first in passing touchdowns, first in wins, best win percentage of all time, most Pro Bowls, most Super Bowl appearances, most Super Bowl wins, most Super Bowl MVPs, most conference championship appearances, most playoff yards, and most playoff wins. Those are numbers.
For those of you that can't see us right now,
that cannot be competed
I'm looking at Nicholas's page, and that list takes up pretty much the entire page.
Takes up half a page.
So it's really impressive. And not just overall, but he finishes this season, even though he lost, which it wasn't actually his fault.
He was still a top 5 quarterback.
He was actually ranked by Pro Football Focus as the #1 quarterback. Let me read off some of these stats from this season. Led the league in passing yards with 5,316, completions with 485, TD passes with 43, completion percentage was 68. So, and a lot of people are saying that this is one of his best seasons yet. So he got better over time.
I feel like it's different than the Ben Roethlisberger retirement. And what I mean by that is okay, Ben should have retired 3 years ago.
Yes.
It is no secret that he has been on a decline for the past, I don't even know, 5 years.
6 years.
Something like that. I mean, Tom Brady is playing like he was in his glory days back in New England. You know?
Exactly.
I don't really think he needed to retire yet. I mean, he's still at the top of his game.
That's why I was surprised he was retiring. I thought he had another year left in him at least.
Oh, for sure.
I thought he'd want to go chase that ring one more time. But he said he's satisfied. He's done I mean, there's really nothing else for Tom Brady to do, let's be honest. Win another Super Bowl, but he doesn't need another. He's already proven that he can win one without Bill Belichick, which was a big debate while he was in New England. Mm-hmm. And he's proven that he could pretty much win it with any team because he took a pretty bad Buccaneers team and turned them around.
Was able to mesh them together.
And it is interesting. I'm sure we'll talk about this in future episodes, but he did not mention anything about playing for the Patriots or Bill Belichick.
He did not.
When
Pretty interesting.
So he only played for the Bucs for 2 years. He was famous because of his
and got one ring with the Bucs.
So not mentioning the Patriots, there's a little bit of bad blood there between them, I think. But definitely the GOAT, and it was a little makes you feel a little sad. It's it's the end of an era.
That's what I was thinking about. Is I saw on Instagram there was a picture of all these quarterbacks, and it was saying the end of an era. In the picture, the quarterbacks in the picture, I think it was Big Ben, Drew Brees, the 2 Manning brothers,
Eli and Peyton, baby.
Yes, sir. Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers.
Yes.
And I was just looking at that, and I was kind of dang, dude.
Well, that's who, like, when we started watching football.
Like, whenever we first started watching football, those were all the guys that, like, were playing, right? And then
yes, and now they're all retired.
Aren't playing anymore.
I also like to point out that Aaron Rodgers was not on that list and will never be in that list because he doesn't count as an era.
Does anyone like him?
No. I don't think so.
No.
But everyone, I don't care if you don't like the Patriots because they won all the time. You don't like the Bucks because they're your rivals or something. But you cannot. There's no way you can look at what Tom Brady's done.
The immortality
of this
great. Man.
There's no way you can watch him play. I mean, he was so good that when you get in games, he's down by 7 or 3 with a minute left in the game. The Cowboys,
even the last game against the Rams.
Yes.
He threw for 125 yards.
I'll just go back to the first game of the season, Cowboys versus Patriots. We're obviously diehard Cowboys fans. Absolutely. But when we saw the Cowboys kick a field goal and give Tom Brady the ball back with a minute and 30 seconds left in the game, even though we were up.
We lost.
We lost.
That's it.
And he drove down the field in 30 seconds and then killed the clock and won the game.
Little side note, thank you so much, Greg Zuerlein, for missing all those field goals this year.
Yes.
Just so happy with your performance.
Jerry, I know you're listening right now. Cut Greg.
Man,
Zuerlein, please.
This is also not sarcastic. I would totally cry my eyes out if he just quit football for the rest of eternity.
Not sarcastic at all.
Yeah, that was not sarcastic at all.
But Tom Brady, ultimate GOAT of any sport. I think he's just so dominant. And people, when you get to the point where you're down but you still have the ball and people are like, it's game over, and you haven't even scored yet, that's when you know you've made it. And Tom Brady he made it a long time ago.
The most Super Bowl wins, not just of any player, but of any franchise. He's got 7.
He's got more Super Bowl wins than any team.
That's crazy.
Coach.
Obviously, he got 6 with the Patriots.
And then he had to just one-up Bill. He had to go one-up Bill and show everyone he could do it. And I
overcame the
odds.
Love
Tom Brady.
People were wondering, could he do it without Bill? He proved that he could.
We wish him the best.
We wish him the best.
And we will definitely be talking about his achievements more and some stuff about the Patriots more.
Playing golf and checkers or whatever they like to do.
Yes. He will be successful in his next stage as well because he's got the GOAT mentality. Great job to Tom Brady and everything he's accomplished.
Thank you so much for this wonderful sports career that we all got to endeavor on.
Yes, agreed.
Here's we like to end our shows on Under Review. We like to end it off with a quote of the day. And these quotes that we find, we like to get ones that are football related as well as life related.
Take this quote.
So you see, we have football over here on the left. We got life on the right. And then we bring it to the middle. And it's meshed together.
Perfectly.
This quote of the day.
Like a batch of cookies.
Brought to you by the greatest Cowboys. Actually, I don't know if this is the greatest Cowboys coach. I'd say
there's debate
second.
On that. Yeah, I would say second.
I would say Landry, then Jimmy Johnson.
Yes.
This quote,
but it's still a good quote,
is brought to you by Jimmy Johnson. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. That little extra
will make you extraordinary. Thank you, Jimmy.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Nick, for that quote.
You're so welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you listening in this week. Tune in next week for some more Super Bowl
And if
talk.
I can leave you with anything, it's I was right.
Oh boy, and we're back. I really thought we moved past that as a team.
I really thought we did, and then I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I guess we just hadn't.
We're gonna find something super cool to disagree on, and I'm going to claim back what is rightfully mine, Mr. Right. But until then, thanks for listening.
I shall reign forever on the throne.
We wish y'all a good week and wish me luck because I have to deal with Nick for the next week.
We will see you next.